odd.
Why does it look odd? It looks funny.
Okay. I'll go odd, you go funny. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Listenerland, the podcast which people are clamouring, fighting over each other to get to. Unfortunately, there's only so much room in this place for three of us, so special guests will have to wait. Rod, I'm sorry, but you'll have to wait. Stop pestering us.
Listenerland 2024.
Yeah, 2024.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah. What do the next 12 months have in store?
More of this shit.
That's what one reviewer said.
No, there'll be more of this, and it's doing quite well so far, so why would it not continue? So what we got on the cards for today?
Anybody got any news of interest?
I've got a bit of news. I'm sure we've all heard it. Actually, I've got two, which I'm sure we've all heard, but I'll start with one. Amy Winehouse biopic.
Oh, they're doing an Amy Winehouse now.
They're doing an Amy Winehouse biopic.
It weren't unexpected, was it?
Well, I don't know. It's coming out in...
Whose idea that? A dad's?
Well, it's been approved by the family.
A dad.
A dad will be playing Amy Winehouse. No. But she only died in 2011. It's not that long, is it, to have this weird biopic? It's called Back to Black and it's coming out in April. But it just feels a bit too early.
Well,
for me anyway.
Well, what would you say is too late? What's too early?
Well, I don't know. Just
does there have to be a time limit on it?
Well, I know what he means because it's almost like, let's just wring as much money out of this while the subject's hot.
Will it be a dad?
Well, it might be, but it just seems wrong.
Like it were only a few months ago that they released her journal when she was a teenager. Like made that like a public book you could buy. Like how much are they trying to rinse out?
Oh, it's not done yet.
We've got years to go.
There'll be another diary, part 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and then there'll be footnotes and song notes and
clippings of her hair.
Well, yeah, there will be.
It won't be long until there's like a house museum.
Oh yeah.
They tend to do that, don't they?
You can go on a guided tour. Oh God, it just sounds so decrepit, doesn't it? And it'll happen. You can just know it's going to happen.
This is where she used to sit at a dining room table.
Yeah, and you'll be there. This is the lamp post fell against. No, I don't like all that sort of stuff. It don't sit well with me. And I'm sure he's pushing it along as hard as he can, but
yeah, it's a bit weird.
When they say rest in peace, that's what they mean.
Yeah, but they say that, but
they don't mean it.
Well, there's a time, isn't there? There's a time limit for rest in peace because
a bit of grace, leave a bit of time.
You know, they now make programs about digging up the dead. Oh, look, we found here a catacomb. Oh, look at these! Look at these!
Remember these?
Like there seems to be a period when it's old enough, it's fine to dig it up.
Yeah, look at this bad boy.
Yeah.
Just laid in my garden.
30 years is frowned upon, but 130 years, dig it up!
Well, let's have it out.
Show me the money.
This is because of AI, though, isn't it? Because they've got AI technology.
What, digging up?
They've used this. They can use it now, can't they? If she died in the 80s, say, there would have been 50 years grace, and then they made a biopic. Now they've got this technology where they can bring her back on screen.
No, it's somebody playing Amy Winehouse.
Oh, it's somebody playing Amy Winehouse.
It's an actual, like, Freddie Mercury one.
Oh,
sorry. Freddie Mercury's playing Amy Winehouse?
Freddie Mercury is playing Amy Winehouse.
Yeah. Wow.
That's a trick, that, isn't it?
Yeah, because they're doing the Edith Piaf in AI. Now, we're all fans of Edith.
Piaf. Who's Edith Piaf? Have you mentioned this before?
Yeah, I was telling you at rugby the other day.
Yeah.
We went to rugby the other day, I was telling him then. She was a French singer.
The Levian Rose woman.
What?
No.
Horrible voice.
Well, debatable.
French.
Yes.
Debatable, again.
Well, no, she were. But she got a checkered past. I mean, the story of her life is quite interesting. So the story will be very interesting. but they're going to do it in AI because they've got recordings of voice and the speaking voice and things like that. So they're going to bring it back to life, AI style. And it will be very interesting. And it's just the start. We predicted this months ago.
The Listen Land were on top of it all.
If you want to get big in the music industry, die. Because they're going to bring you back AI. And you'll be famous and you'll be rich.
All these 27-year-olds
but you'll be dead.
Like, hey.
But you'll be dead. So they're all going to come back. They're already publicising. It's been on news or it's been on my telephone anyway about Elvis.
Oh, Priscilla.
Well, they found him.
No. There's...
Yeah,
I've got a clip on my phone. I don't know whether it's from forthcoming thing or it's just one of them spoof things that they've done. And Elvis walked on stage.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then, thank you very much. And on drums, Mr. Who is it now? It's Keith Moon. Keith Moon on drums. And on bass guitar, we have Noel Gallagher.
You don't play bass?
Well, I know. I'm just saying, you might as well.
Okay.
Rhythm guitar. He plays rhythm guitar. And it's like that. Right. It's very good.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like we're talking about.
Yeah.
When you've seen it twice, 3 times.
3 times later.
You've seen it.
Well, yeah, it's not going to be uncommon to have these sort of things.
But it's clever. It's clever still because it looks like they're doing what they're doing.
They'll be popping up all over.
So every dead artist is going to come back.
Yeah. Even people that aren't dead will be on the
why? Why would they do that? Because they can use a real person.
Yeah, but they'll be to star with people that's dead.
But they've already done it, actually. Like Ariana Grande has done Fortnite, appeared in that, and A$AP Rocky, a rapper, has appeared in like a game as a virtual reality version of himself. You
could put people like B.B. King and Muddy Waters together, and Bonamassa.
Oh, he's here. Bong. That's the Bonamassa bomb. That was one. Now, the audience has got to count how many times Wayne references Joe Bonamassa.
5 minutes in.
There is a prize for the winner. It's Wayne. You get to keep him.
So, yeah, but you could have like BB, Muddy Waters, and then Clapton.
And Cilla Black.
And Cilla Black singing.
Imagine that. What a lineup.
Oh, my wow.
Surprise, surprise.
I can't really envision that. It's beyond talent, that, isn't it? It's another spectrum.
So you got Clapton there at Hammersmith. And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage with me, Mr. B.B. King and Muddy Waters. And boop, they just pop up like Star Wars figures.
But you see, but he's probably already done that.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, but you could do that.
This age he's at now.
You could mix it.
Yeah.
Oh, slow hands.
You could mix it.
Slow down.
Slow hands.
Oh, slow hand.
Slow hands. That's his German stage name. Slow hands.
Slow hands.
Slow hand.
I don't know how he got that name, really. You don't know particularly.
It's because something to do with he plays and his fingers don't look like they're moving. He's got
it's based around that, but it looks like he's playing to me.
Yeah.
I thought it was to do with that he was always terrible at thumb wars. You know, he grabs,
could be.
Yeah.
No. But it could be.
Could be.
Yeah. I have a story that's related to Eric Clapton.
All right.
And it's a strange one. And I've got to get all facts right. It's coming straight off the top of my head. Jim Gordon.
Gordon's alive.
Gordon's alive? No, Jim Gordon used to play, he was a session drummer. A very successful and a very busy session drummer. He was so busy at one time that he'd be having a session, an evening in Vegas, playing for whoever, and then he'd fly back to Vegas and he'd do 2 or 3 drum sessions in daytime there.
Hold on, he was doing a session in Vegas, then he'd fly back to Vegas.
No, sorry, back to...
I mean, I know your facts aren't...
California. Sorry, California.
Right.
And he'd, in his session on 2 or 3 tracks back in California, then fly back at night and do his session. Very busy. But he also played in Delaney and Bonnie when Clapton was in Delaney and Bonnie. And then they formed with the bass player, the keyboard player and the drummer. They formed Eric and the Dominoes and brought in Greg Almond. Or what are you doing? It was an Almond man.
Well, they weren't brothers, were they?
They were. And that was the beginning of Derek and the Dominoes. The first thing they did was they became the house band for George Harrison. when he recorded All Things Will Pass.
Oh, they're good mates, aren't they?
Yeah, so that was the first gig that they really did, but they were just a house band then. I suppose it was like a warm-up for what were to come, and then they did that one album, Layla and other sort of love songs. But Jim Gordon played drums, and he's famous for that outro on Layla with the piano.
The pianos, yeah.
He plays the piano, because that was his first instrument. He played the piano. He'd pinched that off his girlfriend.
What, the piano?
No, the chord, the lick itself.
Oh, right, okay.
He was going out with Rita Coolidge, and she was going to do it on one of her tracks, but they worked this song out, and that was the song that they were working on. But he just used it on the end of Layla. And it's famous for that now. We all know that outro. We all love that outro. Apart from the whining slide guitar on it, it's absolutely brilliant.
You don't like the whining?
I don't know.
Well, I was just thinking, I was playing the song in my head, and if you take the whining guitar out, then I think what you've got is like one of those like weird like late 70s sort of rom-com film ends. You know, when the film ends and it just does like just like caption shots of the cast screen.
Yeah.
Filmed in front of a live studio audience.
And you got the slide, and some of the slides are all right, but some of it is just a little bit like easy.
Yeah, but now the slide. See, when the slide comes in, that just reminds you of like, because you've got this very flowery like an ending of a romantic film, and then that slide is sort of like off kilter. That's what's been used in like a lot of these gangster films.
Yeah.
It's like the what do you call it? What's the word for when something's like off kilt?
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I like a bit of slide, and I like a bit of almond slide.
There's ups and downs.
But some parts of that slide section, I don't know whether it's because of over time it's done this, but it just grates on me a little bit.
And that's why it's not a hit. That's why he had to do an acoustic version, because he heard that you thought.
Isn't it funny how both versions were extremely popular
and very different
very different, but extremely popular.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I think the acoustic version's best.
He went on to play for loads of different other people. Pretty much you name it. Around that period of time, he was session man for them. But he was an undiagnosed schizophrenic.
Oh, right.
Yeah. They put it down to alcohol abuse because he was a bit leery. But he was schizophrenic. So much so, he had an episode whilst in the schizophrenic, I don't know what they call it. There's a name for it, technical term for it, but I can't.
Fit.
Bring it, no. Fix is not the word. Episode is probably the best word for it. But he stabbed his mother several times to death. So they locked him up.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
And he remained
Locked up
from the mid-80s up until last year when he died at 77. He remained in a secure unit because he was still not well. They couldn't release him. He came up for parole several times, but it was still so unwell that they could never release him. And he died in prison. Happy song. Happy story, that
I
one.
wonder if Clapton ever visited him.
Sorry?
I wonder if Clapton ever visited him.
Eric, did you ever visit Jim when he went to secure unit?
Mango.
I'm sure they did, Wayne. I'm sure they did.
Maybe exchanged a letter or two.
Yeah, they could see people, but he made him. He stabbed his mother lots of times.
Or do you think that would have put an image on Clapton that he wouldn't have wanted, him going to see a murderer in prison?
Well, if it had been a murderer that was sane...
But he's still a murderer, whether he's...
Well, yeah, but if it had been a murderer that was sane...
Well, all murderers insane. No.
If it had been a murderer that was sane, then people might have said, maybe keep away,
I think all murderers...
But because he was schizophrenic and mentally ill, then some would say... But he couldn't use that plea in court, apparently. For some technical reason, he couldn't use that plea of insanity in court.
But all murderers are something wrong with him, or they won't be doing it.
Sorry?
I said, all murderers, there's something wrong with them, or they won't be doing it. So they're all not in right frame of mind, are they?
Well, I get your point.
I guess.
But it happens a lot.
But will Clapton want that image of him, although it's a mate and he's set up a band with him and he's known him for many, many a year, done a lot of good stuff with him. Do you think he would have been advised to cut ties because of the image that, Clapton goes to see?
It's an interesting scenario.
Clapton seen in jail visiting a murderer.
There's an answer for this, and it's what's
I don't
used
think it would
on
have gone
most
down well.
Egyptian pharaoh documentaries.
I can't read Egyptian.
Well, I'll tell you, how they all end is, I guess we'll never know. And that's probably the same thing. We'll never know whether Eric did. Eric may have gone in disguise as an old Jewish mother.
Unless Clapton gets in touch with us.
Yeah.
And tells us.
Well, he's in next week, so...
So, taking Eric out of the equation, all these other people that were there, they were all, in Derek and Domino's, they were all quite famous musicians. Would they be tarred with the same brush then as you're tarring Eric with?
They would. They all would be, wouldn't they?
I don't think that people... I can't see people...
I would have thought...
If you were diagnosed and if you'd done something seriously wacko, I mean, we've known each other a lot of years, and you went into prison, I'd go in there to say, all right, that weren't a clever move, but, I think he would have done. I think he would have done, yeah. Would you?
I think it would. I think it's a different scenario, isn't it? Because you're not in the limelight.
I don't think Eric at that particular time...
Excuse me?
We're all
Where?
I think we're pretty well...
I don't think Eric at that time would... now we're concerned about whether he was in limelight or not.
Yeah, he was in his angry years, weren't he?
He can't remember most of them.
Yeah,
anyway.
I think
the management, and I think they'd have advised him, don't go in.
Would you listen to that?
Do you think they really had that sort of like PR management back then? Proper PR management?
I don't know.
I
don't think they went in for damage limitation back in them days, did they?
Right, lads, here's what you do. If one of you kills somebody,
right,
you used to go by this playbook. It's called Wayne's Playbook.
What you need to do is you need to bring out... We'll release your diaries. We'll release all your diaries. We'll make a biopic about you, and you'll be famous, even though you're a mass murderer. Well, you went to mass murder. You just killed your mother.
This is by no means a link to Amy Winehouse being a mass murderer.
No. I'm using it as a metaphor.
Or a dad. In other news, speaking of mass murders...
Oh. You only killed one.
Speaking of murder, they're doing a Broadway musical of Prince's Purple Rain.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, apparently it's asking for it. And they're doing it. It's going to come out next year. And because it's been planned, obviously, because next year will be the 40th anniversary of the film.
And what we're saying about things
Purple
being
Rain.
too early?
Well, I don't know whether it's going to be good or not. I mean, it's a musical film.
But is it too early?
I mean, I don't think so. I just think
is it celebrating the music or celebrating the artist?
I think the idea is perfectly fine, and they've done worse things like Spider-Man musicals, but of which you two did the theme song for it. Massive flop. Anyway,
it will, won't it?
I wonder why.
And I think the idea of it is good, but I don't think Prince would have actually gone for it himself. I don't think he would have agreed to it because he was quite protective over his music. He was strategic with it. I think this is potentially the estate sort of finding a way of making money out of it. Yeah. But I can guarantee it will be a hit, though.
Well, it will be just because he's got his name on it.
Well, it's the Purple Rain film, but on a stage. It'll come to the UK. It'll do its tour and stuff. But apparently, there's going to be some changes to modernise some of the text that was used in the film. Like there was a few things that were like anti-feminist and blah blah blah. And I think there's going to be some alterations to "Darling Nikki."
That's a great track.
It's a good song, but I don't think it's going to be. The mention there's been talk about it's not going to be appropriate for the audience that it's targeted at. Yeah.
Come on. Anyway, to get off death and murders and people dying and all this.
Yeah, just a minute though. Why do they have to polish everything up? Today's society is just frightened to death to say anything and do anything.
That's what they do. Because you can't. Because you get lawsuits.
It's getting worse, though, isn't it? It's getting worse. Yeah. You can't. The change in the lyrics of a song that made somebody famous that they're prepared to make a stage play about, musical stage play. Yet, we're not going to use the lyrics in the song that made him famous because they don't fit in today's society.
Well, it'll be artistic interpretation, wouldn't it, for the audience? That's what they'll be saying.
Well, that's a big loophole in my book.
But if they're marketing the show as a family show, let's say, then such songs as "Darling Nikki."
Well, if they're going to do it as a family show, he can't wear the costumes that he used to come out with in his beginning of his career.
No.
But then,
no.
Yeah, but then you're not getting the right stuff, are you?
Yeah, it's a filtered
Contradiction.
stuff,
Yeah, it's you're either going to do it or you're not going to do it.
But what's more important?
When you go and see
artistic authenticity or money?
Right, but
let me think about this one.
Yeah, but if you're going to go and watch something like that, which is all around Prince, you know what you're going to get before you go in. You know what type of person you are. You know how we dress. You know some of his songs are a little bit near to the bone.
Prince Andrew.
Yes. So you know roughly what to expect. If you don't want to go and listen to it, don't fucking go. Simple as that. If you want to go and listen to it and you don't mind it, then go pay your money, go and enjoy the show. Simple.
How about that?
It's a bit like...
Just don't take your 12 and 8-year-old kids
with
with
you.
you.
It's a bit like the biopics for anybody.
Yeah. If you don't like it, don't go.
I can't stand to see that person. I mean, a lot of people don't like looking at Macca, do they? But,
No,
but they love his music.
But don't...
Macca.
Yeah,
Paul McCartney.
Paul McCartney.
But they don't like... They love his music. Then don't watch it. Just listen to it.
Don't watch it by album.
Yeah.
It's
But like you say...
It's easily it's easily subsumed, isn't it?
Money doesn't talk.
Really?
It screams.
I thought you were going to use a line of a song there. Is that a line of a song?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, there's a line of a song from a Sheffield/London band, the Long Pigs.
Oh.
Money Talks.
Excellent band.
Excellent band featuring Richard Hawley and Crispin Hunt on vocals. Crispin Hunt actually works in the music industry now.
He's quite big in the music industry.
But not necessarily in music, in more like the artistic rights sort of thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a line in there saying, "Money talks, it says goodbye and walks."
Yeah. Which song's that from? Is that from the second album?
Yeah.
You're a big fan of that album, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the one made in America, weren't it?
Was it?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, I like the first one.
Yeah. I don't think you give him the second one enough time, though.
No, probably not. You're right there. I probably haven't, because I've been so judging it against the first one, because I'm a big fan of the first album. So many good tracks came off it, and they were just really good and catchy.
What was the album called?
Different.
Is it
Sun?
The Sun is Often Out.
The Sun is Often Out. Go out and check that one out.
Long Pigs. Sun is
I'm
Often Out.
going to say go out and buy it. You can go out and buy it, but at least download it and have a listen to it.
There are some standout tracks.
Standout tracks.
Lost Myself and She Said. We've got, I think they were singles.
She Said was... Well, I think of that year, it was my favourite track. Whatever that year was.
They were...
And what she said?
Oh, well, you got to listen.
Oh,
I've listened to it.
Listen.
They're one of the underground, the best underground Britpop band. One of the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. Champion enough.
Unfortunately, they had conflict with the management and ripped off and things like that. So they never really...
Well, they weren't allowed to use their name, were they?
No, they had to buy... Didn't they have to buy it back or something like that, which meant they didn't make any money and...
Some sort of...
it got very complicated.
They were going to be quite big. They were at the time. They were supporting U2 on tour.
On the cusp of big time, and then it all went pear-shaped for them, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Richard Hawley made a career out of it.
Well, he also played in Pulp.
Pulp, he did.
So he was all right.
Yeah, he got by.
He got by.
Yeah. But as a band, I thought they were quite original for their time in that sphere that they were in. I liked them a lot. I saw them down in London.
You did, didn't you? TFI Friday.
I actually went up and met him and had a word with him and thanked him for a good show.
Good show, boys. Good show.
Well done, old bean.
And he wouldn't get away with it these days, but Crispin had a man bike.
I think he would.
A bit like mine.
You probably would.
But it were in giraffe skin.
Yeah.
I don't think it was original giraffe skin. I think it was like fake. Hopefully it was fake. But it was a nice bike.
You see more man bags now than then. I think it was more daring to wear a man bag back then than it is now.
Well, it went 1930.
Well, it might not have been, but you know.
It might as well have been.
Well, yeah. When you're in London, you can do what you want.
Really?
Yeah, you're accepted more, aren't you? Walking around the streets rather than with a man bag and high heels, you're going to get looked at. Did I say high heels?
Well,
Oh my God.
See, that's the thing what did it for you. The high heels.
That's what get it away.
So there you go, Purple Rain, the movie.
But on a better note, get away from death.
All right.
So I heard that this week the Riff Master has celebrated the 8 years birthday.
80th birthday, the Riffmaster. Would that be
Naomi?
Jimmy Page?
It would.
Jimmy Page.
80?
Oh, did you see him backstage at that Kiss thing?
Yeah.
What were you trying to do there?
I think it was Monday. Was it Monday or Tuesday of this week? His birthday. I think it was either the day before or it's the same day because Bowie's birthday was as well, wasn't it?
No.
Wasn't it?
He died.
Yeah, I mean, it was his birthday a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
On the 9th, I think. Or
Yeah.
He died on the 10th, though, didn't he?
It was his birthday.
Yeah, but it was. But his birthday
Is
like the 9th or the.
This
6th.
Bowie's birthday was this week. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that.
I can't remember if it's. I can't remember now.
I know he died on the 10th.
If
I didn't know his birthday within the same month.
If Jimmy Page was the same day or it was the day before Bowie's.
Oh, I didn't realise that.
Somewhere in France, they've.
Hey, I'm going to say
They've
this.
named a street after him.
Good fight.
In fact, I saw a video of somewhere in France. They unveiled a street named after him.
Yeah, they have, yeah.
After old Bowie.
Yeah, yeah.
What's it called?
David Bowie
Street.
Avenue.
Rue de la Bowie. I've heard about that.
Talking Street.
Ziggy Road.
I was wondering.
Talking Street.
I was wondering why.
Talking Street.
I can't remember any big connections with France or Paris, but there obviously must have been because they decided.
I wonder why. Maybe just fans of him, respected music.
Yeah, we've not done anything like that, have we?
We've got a big statue in London.
Have we?
Of all?
Yeah, of Bowie.
How big?
Where?
Well, I say big. It's like corner of it. It's where he grew
On a
up,
corner shop somewhere.
like near Brick Lane or something like that.
Is it?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah.
Brick Lane, ain't that got something to do with your football team?
Brick Lane? No.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought I didn't think they'd actually.
Where's Brick Lane?
So it's across. Well, it's not. So do you know the 5 Year song? Across the Market Square. It's about a real place.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
across the Market Square, there's this like statue of Ziggy.
Oh, right.
5 Year song.
Is
Very
it,
good song.
is it as good? I've not seen it, but is it as good as Phil Lynott in Dublin?
That's
a big old statue,
I
isn't
haven't
it?
seen it, but
It's a big old statue, and he died in January,
well,
38 years ago. He's now been dead longer than he was alive. He died when he was 36, so he's now been dead 2 years longer than he was alive.
wow.
Can't believe that. 38
No.
years he's been dead. Wow, where's that gone? I remember getting a phone call when he died.
How did he call you when he died?
What a fit.
Geoff, I've gone. I'm going, Geoff.
Bye now.
You best get your coat on.
Remember me?
No, my friend rung me and says, "Hey, have you heard?" Well, we didn't have internet in them days. We barely had TV, and he said, "Phil Lynnott's died." You're joking. Well, he'd not been well for a while. You know, he'd been on the cusp of being naughty all the time.
For many a year.
Yeah. Still very sad though.
Oh, yeah. Well,
He were never going to be. They said he were going to be the solo artist. I never believed that. I never took much notice of that. You were going to Thin Lizzy would run its course and it was petering out. And then because he'd had a couple of albums, solo albums, excuse me, he'd had a couple of solo albums that he were leading up to this solo career. But I couldn't see him as a solo artist. He was a band man. He got a bass guitar and he'd like to be in front of a band. And I could never envision him. You know, like Rod Stewart went solo.
Yeah.
I could see him doing it because he did it all through Faces. He had solo albums all the way through Faces, and so that didn't come as any surprise. But with Phil Lynott, no, I couldn't see him being a solo artist.
He didn't exactly have amazing pipes, did he?
No, he didn't. They was distinctive, but they weren't amazing. And the two solo, maybe, was it 2 or 3? 2 solo albums he had out, the songs, in my opinion, I'll probably get slated for this, in my opinion, were poor.
Yeah.
He only had Sarah and Yellow Pearl that he did with the kid from with Geldof's mate who did Live Aid.
Oh,
Scottish kid.
Yeah, what's his name now?
Major?
Major.
He wrote that with Major. Yellow Pearl. It was originally titled Yellow Peril. That won't work today, will it? No. And it went on to be the theme tune for Tour the Pops.
Yeah.
Is that how it went?
Bum, bum.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like that song.
Yeah, and they were the only two that were of note. So I can't see. I listened to them solo albums, and I was unimpressed. Back in the day, unimpressed. And I was a fan.
Were you a bit annoyed as well that he had left Thin Lizzy? Was that part of it?
No.
It was like, you won't succeed, you leave the band, how dare you?
No, you could see that the last... He died January 86. You could see that the end of Thin Lizzy were coming, because the last 2 albums have been all right. Renegade and Thunder and Lightning. Thunder and Lightning were the last one, and that were the better one, better than Renegade. Although there were good tracks on Renegade, I thought so anyway. But it was a completely different band. If you look at the stuff that's on the live album that's famous, they're completely different. They're completely different. It's of that period with keyboards, and it's almost big air metal music.
There's a joke in Thin Lizzy, though, isn't there? You told me, but there isn't a joke, but it's a problem. And I've told people this, thinking I get a good reaction.
Okay.
And I never do. Without doubt, don't get it. You said to me, and it's Jailbreak.
Yeah.
You're like, there's a line in the song says, tonight there's going to be a jailbreak somewhere in this town.
Yeah.
Well, where do you think that's going to be then?
Post office.
I find it funny.
Yeah,
I do.
When I tell it anyone else, like...
Post office.
Post office. Yeah. Yeah, it's just mad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a crap line.
Yeah, tonight there's going to be a jailbreak somewhere in this town.
So, but to say you said he was a friend of Major's.
Yeah.
He also gid Bob Geldof an helping hand as well, didn't he? With Boot on Rats, help him get.
He was
on map.
big mates with Bob Geldof.
But yet none of them two asked him to do Live Aid.
No.
Yeah, probably in a bad way.
No.
Well, he went to Ireland and did the commentary on radio for them.
Did he?
In Dublin.
Oh, right. I didn't know
He
that.
weren't invited, but he went. He were not going to be on... We've covered this on a previous episode, actually. He were not going to be invited because he would have had to reform Lizzie.
Oh, yeah, what would he have done?
But you've got... Then you'd have had the reforming of Queen, so to speak.
Who?
Pink Floyd,
Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Zeppelin, and Thin Lizzy.
I mean, he could have come on with Bowie and done Under Pressure, couldn't he? Something like that.
No. Yeah, they could have done. It would have been great to see that happen. Actually, Status Quo.
Yeah.
Cool,
They'd split up.
Yeah, they'd opened, didn't they?
They got back together.
So you'd have had 5 or 6 big bands there all back together for one big worldwide concert.
But the thing is...
Not that it wanted it anyway, but
Thin Lizzy
it would have just put another aspect on it.
It was the fact that...
I think they were that big, yeah.
Were they, though?
Yeah.
Do you reckon?
What?
Were Lizzy that big? Were they that popular? Were they that mainstream culture?
Yeah.
I don't think they were. I think they were subculture.
Maybe subculture, but it was enough to make them popular enough to do it. Oh, I think
that's the curious cow.
I think back in the day,
to two so-called good friends that you've helped get up to where they are, to put a worldwide concert on and then not bother to ask you to even
it's because
do
of that
something.
ridiculous line, Wayne. There's going to be a jailbreak.
It was because of the accusations that Phil Lynott and Paulie Yates were
shagging.
Well, I didn't say that. There was not...
Oh, she didn't go down for a game of Scrabble, did she?
Well, she didn't... There's no proof that they actually did. It's just that there was a lot of friction in that department.
So they were shagging.
And that's why it was never going to happen. Yet,
And we're back onto deaths. We've lost, I think it was this week or last week, we lost Annie Nightingale.
Did we really?
Yeah,
Didn't know that.
yeah. What was she? 83. I didn't realise she was 83.
3 years older than Jimmy Page.
Wow. Yeah. Do you know? Annie Nightingale's fans and family. not want to skip over this, but we actually skipped over what you actually started with last time about Jimmy Page being 80.
Jimmy Page, yeah.
I'm sure he's got like a 38-year-old girlfriend.
When Kiss were doing their final concert,
Possibly.
they were in pit, weren't they?
Yeah, I saw that bit.
They were in pit, was it? Yeah. And he's bobbing up and down in pit, trying to like hide from the crowd. And Gene Simmons is there going like that.
Oh, God. Wow.
Yeah, 8-year-old. Yeah. I didn't realise he was that old.
And I didn't realise I think he was 83.
And I think, did he, when what, 12? I'm sure it said she died on 12. I could be wrong
Today.
on that one.
We don't want to get dates away.
No, I mean, who knows when this is recorded?
Phew, this could come out in Easter.
But anyway, yeah, so she died this week, we'll say.
Yeah.
Within the last 7 days. 83-year-old.
Always been
Massive music presenter.
Always been there.
It was the first female to host Radio 1.
Always been there in the music scene.
Yeah.
Always been a name. Yeah, it's disappointing that.
Yeah.
Why did she have to go and do that?
I don't know.
Shame.
Yeah. So I've got any more deaths. Let's get them out of the way.
Well, Roger's been at it again.
Boom.
Oh, but not as you know it. Oh, hey, what's this? It's only another episode of the famous Listenland podcast.
With a strange person and a hat.
We'll just sit and watch.
This must be very confusing for viewers. It's like that mirror in that painting. You look at the painting and there's a mirror in it and you can see into the mirror and into the mirror. So here you can see into the fire.
Yeah.
So it's not like those dogs playing cards then?
No.
Okay.
It's better than that.
Better than that.
So do you think this is how people who appear in Big Brother feel, watching them when they're watching themselves back on telly?
Exactly the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. In a silly art.
Who's going to get voted out?
In a silly art and John Candy shirt.
John Candy. So, Roger's been at it again.
Boom.
But not Roger Waters.
Oh, it's not a rabbit, is it?
Roger Taylor.
Oh, another Roger. Two Rogers.
Roger.
What's Roger been doing now?
Roger is blaming his generation, boom, for that's a play on the my generation. He's blaming his generation for a lot of the problems of the world, and he says that we should just hurry up and die. We should just hurry up and let the young people take a bit of lead, because it's basically having a bit. It's a political rant he's having about the older folk and the NHS, and he thinks that it's his generation that is preventing a lot of younger people getting operations because they're filling up beds.
Wow.
And then he goes on to riff about how he doesn't understand how I think it's less than half the NHS's budget is actually spent on wards, and the majority of the other half is spent on senior members of staff. Like, he doesn't understand how some NHS senior members of staff are earning £500,000 a year.
This is a fact,
and he wants to give more. He wants to give more leeway for the younger generation.
Yeah, this is true, but we're not going to comment on that because we're a music podcast. We're not politically orientated.
Or
that is a political
NHS
question, isn't it?
It is, but this is just the rantings of Roger. Who, Roger. It's the second
The
one.
question is, should he put his name behind such a sensitive subject, saying that we ought to have voluntary euthanasia?
Well, I don't think it was being so serious, but we've had other people making NHS statements before. A friend of the show,
Oh,
Who's that?
Roderick Stewart. So he had private healthcare, and he's seen all this stuff on the news about the waiting lists.
Be
Are
careful what you're
horrendous.
saying because he'll be watching.
And he'll agree because he had a big campaign about it. He heard all this thing about the NHS, and there's a huge waiting list, and people can't get appointments, blah blah blah. And he went in for some routine sort of operation, and he walked into where it was he was going. It was like nobody there, and it was like 2:00, and he was like the first person they'd seen all day, and he couldn't understand it. It's like, this is ridiculous. Like, he can pay for private healthcare, but like the fact that there's all these doctors waiting around.
Yeah.
So what he did was I think he had like a few days where he paid for people to have private healthcare just to fill up a few days of surgery, and he had this like news campaign about like how this is not fair and blah blah blah.
I think I vaguely remember something about this now. Yeah.
Good old Rod.
Good old Rod. It was a good stance to take, but it was an actual stance, weren't it? It weren't words. He backed it up.
And then he went off and said, "I think his generation should roll over and die."
Yeah, but he backed it up with action, didn't he? He didn't just put words there.
Rod also came to the rescue when that sports hall got raided. Remember that? There was a sports hall which was we were having a railway convention, a miniature railway convention, and some kids had broken into the sports hall, smashed it all up, and there was like £40,000 worth of damage. And because Rod's a big like miniature railway enthusiast, it tugged on a heartstring, and he donated some money.
Well, I don't want to say too much, but we've had a bit of that here, really, in Grumps Bar. If it hadn't been for Wayne's violent approach to building Grumps Bar, we would have had a bigger room that way. We'd have had more space to get guests in. But, if you'd like to help out, Rod,
We've currently got David Gilmour sat outside trying to speak on a microphone, but we can't hear him.
We can't hear him, no.
Shine on, kid, shine on.
Did you see that this week? I meant to have a look at that a bit, research it a bit further. Your mate, well, he's not actually, but,
It will be.
It's not Joe Bonamassa.
Savile.
Kenny Wayne.
All right.
Kenny Wayne is on stage holding up Blackie.
The guitar?
Yeah. Yes.
How's he got that then?
Well, it's playing. That owner that owns the guitar, that football club owner, is it Eagles or something like that? The bloke who bought it.
Yeah, I can't remember who bought it.
He sent in his guitar collection out on tour. And Kenny Wayne Shepard is playing it. I don't know what the outcome whether it were any good. I can see it being brilliant, but,
Yeah. Well,
I'll show it you later. I've got it on my phone. I'd show it you, but you can't see my phone.
no.
All right. Hadn't somebody bought that, though? It went at auction recently.
Yeah.
The bloke, I think some football manager, American football manager.
$5.1 million it went for, didn't it?
And he
mad,
buys a lot of guitars, and he's got this big collection of other guitars mainly, but I think he owns other things as well.
I'd be frightened of playing it.
And he's put this
Why?
tour out.
Why? Why would he be frightened of playing the black?
Yeah, it was built to play.
I know, but like you paid $5 million for it.
Or you'd be surprised at comments. It's a good point, actually, because you'd be surprised at comments. Because some are saying that should not be touched.
Does she want Eric Clapton? You want Gilmour's greasy fingers on it?
Yeah.
Mm.
The same.
Oh, yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
One of the questions was, actually, did they change the strings? Does it make any difference to changing the strings? And somebody says it's a bit like having a classic car and changing the oil in it. It's the same principle. Well, I get that.
It's not. I don't know if it is the same principle of changing the oil.
Yes, it is. What he's saying is, it's a working machine, so you've got to keep it, working.
But if you allow just anyone to play it, then it's lost that like.
Well, he walks on stage and he holds it up like some trophy. He's doing this and the crowd goes wild. What does the crowd do?
Wild.
There you go.
But if I was to spend $5.1 million on a guitar, David Gilmour's guitar, I'd want.
It kept as David Gilmour's guitar.
Yeah, but then I'd also want to play it, and then I guess I also won't want it to be like some sort of like sacred relic, but nobody could touch.
Yeah.
Essentially, you can't win.
You can't. No. It needs to be played. I think it needs to be played, but I think it needs to be played by Gilmour.
Yeah.
But he was glad to get rid of it. So.
Yeah.
No, I'm glad that. I'm glad that
if you can
Kenny
afford
Wayne's
it,
playing it because he rings. He's a very strong player. He's a very
aggressive
physical player, isn't he?
Not like Gilmour.
No, he's a tone and feel man, and he plays very delicately. Although he rings some really nice tones out of it, but Kenny Wayne is really digging in, and he's
squeezes a tiger out.
He squeezes a tiger out of it.
Yeah. He's aggressive, isn't he?
Yeah. So I'll be interested to see the rest of that concert. So it's on tour in a concert, and they've got all these special guitars that he's bought.
That's asking to be nicked, then, isn't it?
Oh, I'm sure it's. If he can afford to buy that, he's going to have good security.
Yeah, but Kenny Wayne. Well, Kenny Wayne not bought it. It's some other guy, but yeah, I suppose he's going to have good security, isn't he?
Yeah. What can they do if they steal it?
Sell it.
To whom?
to somebody who's not going to publicise it.
So
they can just sit there in the room going, oh.
That's the worst. Yeah, that's the worst case scenario.
At the end at night, it's not going to be putting it back on a Ford Fiesta while they drive down M1.
Somebody else presses a button, this wall slides across, and behind it is a lit black David Gilmour's guitar. And you just look at this. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody.
And in the most unassuming place, in a caravan, a static caravan in Mablethorpe.
Yes.
And then the centre compartment lifts up where normally there'd be a double bed, and it's laid on a blanket with a laminated one side for moisture protection. Oof. The guitar. Oof. Yeah. Next to some crackers.
And you can't do anything with it. You can't do anything with it.
Can we get off this subject?
You can't do anything with it because everybody knows it. Everybody knows it.
Yeah.
So if you turned up on stage and said, "Just a minute, is that the relic one that was selling for $6,000, $8,000?" And you got to say yes, aren't you?
I'd like to hear somebody do a blind test. So I'd like to get a Strat or whatever, like a custom.
I could make a comment on that.
Have they done one? Oh. You know, like whether they could recognise the difference, if there's anything actually special about it, or is it just that it's the history of it?
Yeah, well, it's got a lot of history, hasn't it? It's been altered.
Well, everything, yeah.
It's a bit like Trigger's broom brush, isn't it?
Trigger's broom? He's a witch now, is he?
Yeah. Guitar, it's the same guitar, but it's had 4 bodies and 15 different necks.
Yeah, Trigger's brush, yeah. But it's true. It's had a couple of necks and it's got some routing marks in the back of it and it's chipped to bits. And it's an iconic guitar, though.
But it is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd like it.
Yeah, well, yeah, everybody
would. Do you think
would.
Kenny Wayne Shepard takes his belt off when he plays it?
No.
Oh, it's a good question.
It's a good question. It sounds weird, but it's a good question. No,
it's a good question. I like that.
He didn't when he played Hendrix.
What, on Hendrix's guitar?
What,
did one of those like big Texan belts?
Yeah, still had it.
Like a chastity belt on it.
They have these belts that look like they've just won a WWW thing, don't they?
Yeah, I'd have to be wearing velvet trousers.
Yeah, don't
sellotape on my button.
Yes, I know what you mean with that. You'd have to, you would, wouldn't you?
Because people would be looking for that.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to mark it in any way.
For those of you that don't know what we're talking about, it's called buckle rash, and it's the rear side, the inside of the guitar, the back of the guitar when you're playing it, because the guitar usually sits at the waist, the middle section, the groin, and you'll
midriff.
You'll get
you don't
buckle
have
rash
it on your groin.
Depends how low you play it. Unless you're one of the Beatles, you have it on. You get nipple rash, but your belt buckle scratches the back of the guitar, and ideally you wouldn't want to add any more scratches to it. You won't want to overwrite David Gilmour's scratches.
Yeah. I'd like to play it.
I'd like to teach the world to sing, but that's not going to happen, is it?
No.
What, in perfect harmony?
In perfect harmony.
You had something else about people not dying. Oh, was that it about...
I don't know.
Getting off the subject of dying, you said.
Yeah,
80...
And then I went to Jimmy Page's birthday.
Oh, sorry.
And then I went back to dying with Annie Nightingale.
Oh, you did, yes. Well, I think on that note...
Goodbye.
Easy.
I would like to bring up a subject that is close to my heart. It's good night. See you later.
Bye.